Welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to share how I list on Poshmark. I'm going to go over how I make my descriptions, my titles, price items, and hopefully just share some really practical tips along the way, and also how I list them efficiently as a part-time reseller who does not have very much time at the end of the day to list items on Poshmark. So the one thing that I did before sitting down to list right now, and what I always do before I ever sit down to list an item on Poshmark, is to photograph the items, upload them onto my computer, and then I take the cover photo of each item that I'm going to be listing, bring it into Canva, remove the background and add a drop or a shadow just to give it a little bit of a nice 3D look. And then I upload all of them onto Poshmark and save them each individually as a draft. So then when I do have a little time to go in and list, everything is already saved as a draft on Poshmark, and it makes it really easy for me just to pop right into the listing and start filling out all of the necessary fields without having to deal with, individually uploading each one at a time. I like to try to batch as much as possible just to help it be a little bit more efficient. So the first item I want to list today is this outer known button-down shirt. So I've got all my pictures in here. I've got the main cover photo where I removed the background and added a drop. I've got the photo of the brand tag, a front and back, and then sometimes I do the care tag if it has the size on it. I don't always take a picture of the care tag to include in my listings, but if it has the size and the size is not where the brand tag is, then I will include that so the buyer can see it. The other thing that I do actually before taking the photos is when I bring an item home from the thrift store, I type it into my spreadsheet just quickly with the brand, the category, quick, title. I don't go into full depth, but I like to include as much as possible and the cost of good and all that. And I do that on this spreadsheet. So what I do is copy and paste that title, not quite yet into the listing, but I actually take it over to ChatGPT, which helps save me a lot of time when I list on Poshmark these days. And in here I have exactly how I like my listings formatted. So I type the title in, and then underneath it, I'm gonna actually go onto my phone and type in the measurements for this item, along with the materials and the condition. So those are the main things that I want to let ChatGPT know so it can help generate the listing for me. So when it comes to this particular item, the other thing I do, sorry, there's a bunch of little steps going into this, but I'm just walking you through my process, is I come over here, and this is where I used to pull my listing formats from before ChatGPT, where now it's, kind of does it for me in a way. So, but I still have all that saved. I copy the measurements, and bring them over here. So the armpit to armpit for this one is 21 inches and the shoulder to hem is 29 inches. And then this shirt is 100% organic cotton and it's in good pre-owned condition. So I'm gonna enter that in, and then ChatGPT is gonna, draft the listing for me. The first thing I have it do is enhance my title basically, or put better keywords in there that make it more search engine optimized. And so this one is outer known men's button-down shirt, large black organic cotton long sleeve. So I'm gonna copy that, bring it into the listing on Poshmark and paste that into the title. Sometimes I will move things around, like I'm already seeing, I like it to say outer known men's large button-down shirt. That's something I kind of semi-recently started doing, is adding the size a little earlier on in the listing, and I think that actually does help. Can't say for sure, but I do think the buyers are typically looking for their specific size, so it's a good thing to have a little closer to the beginning of the listing title. So I've got that in there. I'll go back and I'll just copy and paste this whole part right here. So this takes care of everything basically that I used to have right here, and now just formats it for me. I always double check and just make sure, because ChatGPT is not 100% correct, and you really should check the work, but a lot of times it is pretty spot on as far as this goes. So long sleeve, button front, classic collar, sustainable organic cotton, casual to smart casual style. Probably gonna delete that bottom part, but I like the rest, and I might even say, actually sustainable is good, because I think that is a good keyword to use. I was gonna say I might just do 100% organic cotton, but I think sustainable is a good keyword, so I am actually gonna leave that. But I am happy it says organic cotton in the title, long sleeve. Only have 7 characters left, so not a lot I could do. But if I had more characters, I might say something like lightweight. I probably could say casual in here. And the other thing, I actually like to have the color at the end. Very much a preference thing. It's just a preference thing. I don't know. I don't really have a good reason for it, but I think when I look at my own listings in my spreadsheet, I like to be able just to quickly see the color at the end. So I guess that is the reason, even if it's not the best reason. So yeah, that's the part that ChatGPT helps me with. And then I also actually have ChatGPT come up with extra keywords at the bottom, and sometimes those really help me to like fill out the title a little bit more, or swap out a few words and put those in there. So sustainable is a great one. I do have that one in the body of the listing, so that's good at least. But again, you only have so many characters. So now I'm going to come down to the category, and this is the part you do have to manually fill out, but it's very easy. Men's casual button-down shirts. Size is large. The condition is good. The brand is called Outer Known, which please let me know in the comments if you have ever sold this brand. Last time I sold it, it sold in like 4 days. So it's a good one to know, but I don't know that all their items done well. This is, I think, the 3rd time I have found and listed this item. So the first 2 sold. That's a pretty good track record so far. All right, so now we are at, oh wait, I don't know why I just said $0 listing. So now we're at the listing price. So this is where I really utilize eBay. I'm gonna come over to eBay, and I will actually just copy and paste the title I have right here, paste it in here, and see sort of what the items are currently listed at. And then even more helpful than that, I will come over down here to the sold items, check that, and kind of glance around at the sold prices. And sometimes you can, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna do the used ones. So it seems to be ranging just a little bit. Last time I sold a similar shirt, although it was a little bit thicker, it sold for $60. So this one's a tiny bit more lightweight, but it is still organic cotton, which is a higher quality material, can definitely sell for a bit more. Comps seem to be ranging a little bit. Some are closer to only like 20 bucks, some are closer to 70. So I think somewhere, anywhere in there is probably good. So that's giving me a good idea. I think I'm probably going to go ahead and list this one right around $60 and be, of course, open and willing to accept offers and go from there. But that seems to be within the range, kind of a little bit on the upper end of the range, but again, leaving room for offers. And I will hit update and list the item. So that item has been listed. The other last tiny thing I do that I could do later, but I'm just gonna show you really quick, is I recopy that title and then just update it in my spreadsheet and update the price that I listed, $60. I do this to mark that I have it listed. Yellow means it's listed. And then today is the 19th. So not 25. I will continue typing 2025 until at least February. But as you can tell, I've got a lot of items I need to get listed. And also, if you can tell, I haven't listed at all this year yet. So this is definitely needed. I spent a good amount of time getting things organized, and just honestly, work's been busy, yada yada. So I have not been listing, but here we are listing and just getting items back up. I still have been selling some items, definitely not as many as I do when I actively am listing. So that is what we are doing now. And okay, next item is going to be, let's see, I've got, I think, a few right here. So let's do this one right here. This is a Ralph Lauren cable knit t-shirt, and it's actually Ralph Lauren Sport, which I maybe have sold once, but I don't even think I've sold it once. But again, I've got the cover photo, the brand tag, which you can see right here, and then I've got the front and the back of the item, the close-up of the logo right there, and then there is a flaw on this one, so I did want to make sure to take a picture of that and make sure the buyer knows what they are getting. So again, we're gonna go back to the spreadsheet. I'm gonna copy and paste the title right here into ChatGPT, and then I will again add the armpit to armpit and shoulder to hem measurements. Let me know if you include measurements in your listings or if you typically just wait until the buyer or if the buyer asks for them. And then this is 100% cotton and it's in good pre-owned condition, small hole on shoulder, and I'm gonna say see all photos. It's how I cover my bases when there is a flaw. Instead of being like overly specific, I'll just usually, you know, mention the flaw and then just point the buyer to look at all the photos. All right, so enter, and that will generate the information. Ralph Lauren Sport cable knit short sleeve top, women's medium black cotton. I think I want to use the word preppy in there. So I'm kind of glancing down at this keyword ideas bank here. Cable knit is also a good one. Oh, that's already in there though. So I think I'm just gonna add preppy and that one should be good. Assuming I have enough characters, it looks like I do. Again, just doing the little item, you know, keyword move around that I'll do. Ralph Lauren Sport, women's medium, and then I'm gonna do top. Cable knit, short sleeve, cotton, black, and adding in preppy. All right, and then this is another little tiny trick. I actually learned this from a viewer at one point, but if you, instead of saying like women's or men's with the apostrophe, you can take out the apostrophe, which does save you a character, and then you can use that character elsewhere. But if you also think about it, whenever I type, or like, maybe not everybody does this, but the quick way to like type something out on your phone if you're searching on eBay or Poshmark or Google or whatever is you don't necessarily use like type out the apostrophe, you just type out like women's without it. So I kind of wonder if that even helps, but if nothing else, it gives you a character back that you can use somewhere else. So back to ChatGPT, copy and paste it. And I do also use the free version of ChatGPT. I don't recommend paying for it, or I mean, I personally don't pay for it and I don't plan on paying for it anytime soon. So just wanted to say you definitely don't need to pay for ChatGPT to utilize the tool. It can definitely be helpful. So back down to category, women's tops. This one is a t-shirt. Is that the best? Yeah. Size is medium. And oh, you know what I didn't say on the last one is style tags, which I never used to ever do, or at least not for a really long time, but now I am pretty sure they mean something more on Poshmark. So whether or not that's true, again, I don't know. I'm not an insider at Poshmark. I don't know all the ins and outs of the algorithm, but there are certain indicators that things like this are more important, or the things that Poshmark does share. I feel like recently I learned that the style tags are more important. So I have been trying to utilize them more, although I definitely blew past it on the last listing because I did not used to do that at all. So we'll do preppy, we'll do cable knit, and let's go back to those keywords and see. Short sleeve, classic is a good one. Basic, could do cotton. I might just do cotton, preppy, cable knit, and cotton. All right, bada bing, bada boom. So then I'm going to copy and paste this back up onto eBay and try to find some good sold comps. All right, so looks like we've got around $20, $30. That one sold for a bit more. 35, 23, 36. Okay, so definitely like the 20 to 30. That one seems a little bit like an outlier, closer to 60. I think, yeah, right around there. I think mine, I probably would list it right around 35-ish with the whole. I think I'm just gonna list it right at 30 and see what happens. It's saying it thinks my estimated sale price will be 21 bucks. That probably is right around what it will sell for, but I'm gonna list it at 30 and expect an offer or to send out offers and have someone accept it. So I'm gonna go ahead and list this one. All right, the third item I'm going to get listed is this pair of Vuori jogger pants. And this is a brand I really love to sell. It's doing pretty well. Let me know if you find Vuori pretty often and what your experience has been. I think men's Vuori can do really well. I have had just good luck with Vuori pants across the board, men's and women's. So this is a pair of women's jogger pants. Again, I'm gonna come over here, copy, and actually for an item like this, since typically the style name is a little bit more important, I am going to just see if I can find the style name really quickly. So I'm gonna search with the Google Lens. And sometimes this is helpful, sometimes it really is not, but this time it is helpful. So it says this is a pair of Vuori women's performance joggers in a pale heather gray camo print made with the Dream Knit fabric. So it even has some similar products that are on Poshmark at the moment. I could also look right here, women's Vuori performance joggers. So that is very helpful. So now when I come in, over here, I'm gonna add that women's small performance jogger pants, Dream Knit material. Again, I'm back over at this listing templates sheet, but this time it's pants, so I'm gonna use the waist rise and inseam. And these are in actually very good pre-owned condition, but gonna under promise and over deliver on these. Okay, so again, this came up with a pretty good title that is nice and optimized, has some good keywords. This added activewear and kind of reformatted things a little bit. So I'm gonna bring this over here to Poshmark. All right, so this one is a pair of pants and they are joggers, track pants and joggers. The size is small. For the listing price, I'm guessing this will be a pretty good sale. I would expect at least 50 or so for this pair of pants. So let's see what the comps are looking like on eBay. Let's see. 20, 35, 50, 33, 30, 45. Let's see how many sold. Okay, so 4 exactly, and then some are similar. So maybe these are gonna sell for a little less than I kind of expected. So maybe I'll list them around 50 and probably expect closer to like 40 or so. And it's looking like the ones that are closer to like 60 or 70 are brand new. So since mine are pre-owned, I definitely don't want to price them up that high. So I'm going to list these at 50. Estimated sale price says 37. I am guessing, yeah, it'll probably be right around 40 or so. Put 50 in there and copy this to go back over onto the spreadsheet, hit update. This is the kind of item that probably would be good with like a stock photo. I'm not gonna go into that right now, but that is something when it comes to pants, I think can help it sell, is to find a good stock photo. And you know, I have heard people talk about using stock photos from, or like creating stock photos on ChatGPT now. Let me know if that's something you do or how you feel about that. I think that's a very interesting method. I don't know if you've heard of that yet, but some people are creating like stock photos on ChatGPT with their items, and I think that's kind of cool. It's definitely, I guess, a good way to not be using another brand's photos and still be able to show the buyer what the item looks like being worn without using a mannequin. So let me know your thoughts on that, if you've heard of that, if you you know, think that's a good way to do it. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. I do have a little bit of hesitancy with that just because I feel like it could not be totally accurate, but then again, it's still showing the buyer how it looks on. So, and I think you would probably need the paid for version of ChatGPT. I don't think you can do that on the free version, but anyway, I digress. So the next item I wanted to list today is this pair of On running leggings. And the nice thing about this brand On is they have the style name right on the item itself. So right here it says movement tights long, and these are women's size small. So I'm going to come back over here and copy this, paste it here. I think we are disrupting somebody's nap time over here, even though it's like 9:50 at night, so it's really like basically bedtime. But I'm gonna list this and then shower and go to bed. So yeah, it's kind of the end of the day here. But all right, so we've got the waist, the rise, and the inseam is 28. And these do not have any flaws. They really don't have pilling. So So I'm gonna say they're in good pre-owned condition. And this is a brand, On Running, or it's technically called On, but I feel like most people either call it On Running or On Cloud. But this brand is doing pretty well right now. Sold it a few times lately. I feel like it's kind of just exploded pretty recently, so this is a good brand to be on the lookout for. Let me show you the brand tag again, if in case you haven't found it or you haven't seen this brand. It's a good one to know, so I definitely recommend being on the lookout for that, whether it's for yourself or to flip online. So okay, On Running movement tights, color is brown and blue, size is small. It's a high-rise waistband, color block design, performance stretch fabric, comfortable for running, workouts, and athleisure. Sometimes I leave that like one line at the bottom about what it's used for. Sometimes I don't. I think I'm gonna leave it in for that one. That one sounds fine. Waist, rise, inseam in good pre-owned condition. Okay, so then back down here to all of the fields you have to fill out. All right, the category, we've got pants and leggings. The size was small. Condition is good. The brand is On Running. Color is brown and blue. Style tags, let's do athletic, running, and workout. All right, so then let's take this over to eBay and check the comps. Let me know if eBay is where you check comps or if you use another platform, if you do something entirely different. I would be very interested to hear what you typically do to look up comps and see what items like that are selling for. All right, so let's actually take out the ones that are brand new if we can. Sometimes it doesn't let you, it's so weird. I try not to, compare apples to oranges and compare the comps on brand new items to pre-owned items. If I have a pre-owned item, it's obviously like going to sell for a bit less than a brand new item. So seeing the prices of the brand new items can definitely be helpful, but it's just a starting point, and it does help more to see what items that are pre-owned are selling for. So this one sold for $45. A lot of these are brand new and sold for $35. I think I'm gonna list mine at, let's say $45 to start with, and go from there, see what offers come in. This brand, like I said, is selling very well. It's very, very popular right now. So with that being said, you can price it accordingly, and can always drop the price a little bit over time if need be, if it's really, really not selling. So there you have that one. Okay, the last item I want to list today is this Tailor Stitch men's short sleeve button down shirt. And this is a brand to definitely know and be on the lookout for if you are not already. This is a great men's brand, and their items are made very well. They're pretty high quality with, high quality fabrics, and they just perform very well. I've had very good luck selling this brand. So I was happy to see this when I came across it in the Goodwill Outlet bins, and I actually got this one for 84 cents, so a nice low cost of good. And again, I'm gonna bring this one on over here. Another thing I like to do, and that you could definitely do if you were batch listing, if you were listing more than like one or two items, or even one or two items, instead of going one by one like I'm doing today to walk through each item, you could come over to ChatGPT, list the 5 or however many items you're gonna sell, and just list them, do the measurements right under, do the condition under each one, like, separately do them, but then just have it generate all 5 all at once. That would definitely make it go quicker, and it does make it go quicker. I do that sometimes, so that is just a quick little note if you wanna be even more efficient. But this definitely helps. It goes a lot quicker than it did when I would manually come up with every single keyword and description line and all of that. So this definitely has been helpful, and I like to utilize ChatGPT in this way. Oh, and you know what? I think I might have forgotten to take measurements on this one. That almost always, oh, nope, I didn't. I was gonna say that almost always happens to at least one item when I batch photograph, is one of the items I will forget to measure, but I guess not this item. I also, when it comes to an item like this, when it is a size like that, size 42, sometimes I will look up the size chart for that brand and just exactly be able to tell the buyer exactly what size it is. So I think I probably will do that in just a second. But all right, coming over here to Poshmark, inserting that title. Okay, so I'm on the Tailor Stitch website just to look at their size chart and see what size that is. So it looks like a size 42 is a large. So that is something I'll want to put in the description next to size. Next to the 42 is say that it's a size large. So I'm gonna copy and paste all of this back on over to Poshmark, and right here I'm gonna say large. Short sleeves, button front, classic color, lightweight cotton fabric, casual to smart casual. I don't know what smart casual is, but I'm not gonna add that. And I think I will actually add that it has a chest pocket as well. So this is a men's shirt, casual button down. Size is large. I could say custom and hit 42. And that would just be really dependent on the buyer knowing they're looking for that size for Tailor Stitch, but most buyers are going to be looking for small, medium, large, extra large, 2XL, so I'm just going to put large in the size there. It's good condition. The brand is Tailor Stitch. Color is white, maybe even cream, but mostly it's more of a white. And the style tags, we'll do cotton, casual, and maybe even like travel or vacation. Since it's a short sleeve button down shirt, we'll do vacation. All right, so for the listing price, let's go back over to eBay, see what some of the sold listings are looking like. So this brand definitely does well. It sells pretty quickly typically. Let me know if you have any experience selling this brand. I just really have had great experiences every single time I have found it, so it's one that I really like to pick up. And these comps are also, you know, solidifying why I like to pick it up. It's just the comps are great for pretty simple items too, but the materials are typically really good, and they're just a nice high quality basic. It's looking like there's a good range, 30, 40, 50, 60 for most of them. Some are as low as 20. But for the most part, that's what it seems to be. I think I might, again, list this one at 45 like the last one, and expect right around like 35 to 45. Sometimes things do sell full price, not always, but it can happen. So for this one, I'm gonna list this at 45. It's still priced in there, but priced to sell, priced for a little bit of room for offers, but still would be a really great profit, especially because I paid under $1 for this. So it will be mostly all profit other than the platform fee, which is 20% on Poshmark. And I'm gonna go ahead and list that one. I purchased all of these items that I just listed last year, so long ago, back in 2025. And so it's been like at least 3 weeks since I purchased these items. So, you know, it took me quite a bit to actually get these listed. That is not normally how long it takes me to get items listed. I am not super proud of that, but that's just the reality of my situation. I'm not always listing, and so it is what it is. But today I did get 5 listings up, so I'm happy about that. And hopefully, you know, at least 1 or 2 of those sell pretty quickly. I would probably bet on the Tailor Stitch shirt and maybe the Viore pants. I could see those moving pretty quickly. I think the On Running leggings will move, but maybe not super quickly. The Ralph Lauren cable knit sweater top, the short sleeve, let me know how you think that'll do. I could see that sitting for a while, or I could see it being like a really, really fast flip, but I don't know. And then the first item, I don't even remember what that was. Oh, the Outer Known. That one might sell quickly too. So that one might sell before the Viore. But that's it for this video. Thank you for watching and for listing on Poshmark with me today. Hopefully you learned a thing or two, or just enjoyed seeing somebody else's process. Please let me know if this is anything like your process or if it's completely different. And also please let me know if you typically list on your computer or on a computer or on your phone. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a very good rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.